Hey guys, today I want to discuss a topic that is part of our first grade standard. It's a topic that is very interesting to me, and I know many people don't remember discussing this when they went through school. So we're going to talk about Ruby Bridges. Ruby is the first African American to integrate an all-white school. Ruby is the oldest of 8 children and was born into poverty to Abon and Lucille Bridges. Ruby was born in Tylertown, Mississippi on September 8, 1954, but when Ruby was 4 years old, she and her family moved to New Orleans, Louisiana. This was right in the middle of the Civil Rights Movement. All of the schools were segregated. Segregated means that they are separated by color, whites together and blacks together. During this period, everything was segregated: bathrooms, water fountains, even restaurants. But in 1960, 6 years after the Brown versus Board of Education decision was finalized, plans to desegregate schools moved forward. Ruby, along with 5 other African Americans, were giving a test to see if they could pass it and be allowed into William Frantz Elementary School with white children. Ruby and the other 5 children all passed the test, but 2 children decided to remain at their current segregated school, and the other 3 children went together to another school. Ruby's first day of school was November 14, 1960. She was escorted into her new school by U.S. Marshals, and they said that she didn't even cry. Ruby was very brave because she didn't entirely understand what was going on at the time. During her walks to school, there were many white people outside the school boycotting the desegregation. They threatened to poison Ruby and even threatened to kill her. That's why it was ordered for the U.S. Marshals to escort her to school. The boycott finally died down when a Methodist minister walked through the boycotters with his 5-year-old white child into the school. When Ruby went to her class, her teacher was a white lady named Barbara Henry. Ruby was the only student in her class because all of the parents of the other children came and took them home because they didn't want their children going to school with a black child. Ruby didn't have any classmates until she began her 2nd year at the elementary school. She started the Ruby Bridges Foundation in 1999 that helps promote tolerance of everyone's differences. Ruby Bridges is still alive today. She still lives in New Orleans with her husband and 4 children. In 2005, Ruby lost her home during Hurricane Katrina, and the William Frantz Elementary School was also severely damaged by Katrina, but Ruby helped fight to keep the school open. In November 2007, the Children's Museum of Indianapolis opened an exhibit portraying Ruby's life along with 2 other children. It is called The Power of Children Making a Difference. It even has a recreation of Ruby's first grade classroom. Also, in 2014, a statue of Ruby was unveiled in the courtyard of William Frantz Elementary School. Also, Ruby has reconnected with her former teacher, Mrs. Henry, and remains friends with her to this day. So, after hearing this information about Ruby, I want you to think about how the civil rights movement would have turned out differently if Ruby had not agreed to go to this school to desegregate it. How much longer do you think it would have taken for it to be desegregated in certain areas if Ruby had not been brave enough to do this? Also, I want you to think about how you can be brave like Ruby. How can you help make other students feel welcome when they come to a new school? I know as a new student, it's very scary to have to go into a school where you know nobody and you don't think you'll have any new friends because you left all of your friends at your old school. It's very brave for any kind of student to start a new school at any time, so I would like for all of my students to step up and be brave and try to be friends with anybody that looks like they don't have anybody to help them do anything.